couldn't just ask him to do it for the camera.
Even so, just so you know, like we didn't know, like Jimmy knew, but I was on the ground, so I was like, what did he say? What did he say? What did he say? And finally it came through on the radio. He said, I love you.
Oh.
Yeah, well, because we were worried about what our DP was getting on the top, and he was so nonchalant at the top, and we were like, I called Chad, and she's like, what happened? I'm like, not much, but it was on the way down that he actually said, I love you to Sonny, and our DP told us, and we were like, thanks, something happened. You know, he got to the top, and he was like, that was cool.
Delighted.
Yeah, I'm so delighted. We were like, really? That's happening. But obviously, for this project, we had the incredible Jodie Foster and Annette Bening, and I mean, Rhys Ifans is, you know, he's really part of that trifecta, that triangle of friendship there. But I think one thing that did really translate for us is just working with world-class athletes for the last 20 years and filming with them. Your job often is just to create the space and the environment for them to perform at their best. And that's a big part of a director's job, is to get the best performances from the talent. And I think, you know, that felt very familiar, because when we went into it, we were really nervous about that. And Chai had experience working with actors, I didn't. So I was really, you know, what am I going to say to Jodie Foster? And you know, that instinct of like really being prepared, and we also did a lot of rehearsals with them and got to know them really over the year before. But I think the funniest story though is that our first day on set, we have almost 500 people
Do you see my umbrella?
on location. Jodie's on the boat. We had chosen to shoot an action sequence, one of the harder ones.
So the tank was as big as this room. Let's just
A little
understand that.
bit, but yeah.
It's slightly bigger, and it was
She's on
4
the boat.
feet deep. Okay, so just think about it. You've got a boat in the middle. There were actually 5 boats on the actual expedition, but our tank was too small to include the 5 boats, so we had 1 boat. And it was in the middle, and it's 4 feet deep.
And it's like, well, she was like 50 to 100 feet away.
No, but she was like at the far end, like
Yeah.
she's in the back and we were here.
So we did get our first take, and I look at our first AD and I'm like, can we get a boat to go out there and give Jodie our first note? And he's like, are you kidding me? There's no, we don't have time to do that. And he hands me a megaphone. And everybody there is highly conscious that we are first-time directors.
We're not first-time directors, we're
First-time
first-time narrative
narrative.
feature directors.
And we're very conscious of it. And we're standing there about to give a note to Jodie Foster on a megaphone. That was, I mean, I think we looked at each other and we were like, well, we better get over it.
But that said, like, you know, we have 20 years of nonfiction experience, and it came down to that first good decision, where it was like, oh, you made the right decision, and the confidence that came through, understanding that the instincts translate, was really, really powerful. Because, you know, it's about that emotional truth. We're used to working with the same people over and over again, many of whom are in the room tonight, but what's different is like you're suddenly in front of 450 people, you're working with world-class actors, and like, you know, in nonfiction, like your job is to observe. You're the closest listener possible. Like you know, people often say like translation is the closest form of listening, and so that's how Dad. I don't think it's my dad, but I think it's really funny if we keep on blaming him. Dad. I lost my thought. Closest form of listening. But so the point is, like in nonfiction, you like listen and you watch and like you try to translate it later. And suddenly we had like these amazing creative collaborators in Jodie Foster, Annette Bening, and Rhys Ifans, who are the best at what they do. And they're as committed as we are to bringing these characters to life. And that was like, I mean, it was like having a superpower suddenly. It was like, I don't know, like our capes were flying behind us. It was just incredibly powerful, and it was interesting how you can make the storytelling thing work, but with very different I don't know, like tools or instruments or talent.
I mean, with that experience as well, you both have such a keen understanding of how to tell a really emotionally truthful story with the camera. And with this film, there's so many complexities with the setup and how you're filming everything, all of the water stunt work that you're doing in the film. And so how did you set about just figuring out what your set lists were going to look like? Because it's not just a case of, okay, if we put the camera here while the two of them have a conversation, that will look great. It's like we also have boats and water and people getting in the water and getting out of the water.
Yeah, well, we were very fortunate to be able to work with Claudio Miranda, who is a legendary DP. He shot Life of Pi, Benjamin Button, Tron, and his movie right before Nyad was Top Gun Maverick. Slightly different budget. But you know, he loved the script. And
Okay, Dad, you're fired. Who is that? You guys, please just turn off your phone. Like, please. And if you need your neighbor to turn it off for you, you can ask them.
But Claudio was just really incredible to work with. He had this.
Okay, Dad, it's definitely not you, but whoever's phone that is, please just walk out or turn it off, and you won't blame me. You won't be mad. Okay, thank you.
But it's you know, when you get a creative collaborator like Claudio, you know, the whole intention is constantly